Welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about the show, The Game, and we basically were talking about season 1. And so every time that I see like each season, I'm gonna break it down and just give my review on it. Right now, I just finished season 1, and I'm just gonna tell y'all what I honestly think of the show. So number 1, we get introduced to Derwin and Melanie. Melanie is in medical school. Derwin is a not top notch at this point, but he does become a well-known, being seen as a top-notch football player, because at season 1 he is not as known, he's not really as big, and he's basically known as rookie. He's out there getting people's jock squash, he's feeding them water, and he's just known as rookie. And in the later seasons of the show that I can remember, because I used to watch it as a kid, but I'm rewatching it, he becomes a really big known, well known football player. But right now he's just the rookie or whatever. And so basically, she's trying to as she sees herself, trying to be a good girlfriend and all that. And she's trying to battle her career as a medical doctor and trying to basically try to be by his side or whatever, and try to be his girlfriend and whatever, because he's having his own little career over there. And anywho, she ends up having to try to battle it while doing that, and she's also trying to be a sunbeam and all of that. And that's kind of yeah, she's just trying to be a sunbeam and all that stuff. And it kind of collides sometimes when she's having to do that, because sometimes she'll have meetings, sunbeam meetings that she has to do, and sometimes she has to go to medical school and she has to go to her classes, so that times clashes and stuff like that. And whenever he gets a football deal or something like that, they might have to move and stuff, so that also clashes with her trying to have a medical career and all that stuff. And they're episodes where she's trying to study but he's trying to sleep, so that clashes and stuff like that. So that's that part of the show and all that stuff. And then you also meet other characters like Jason. I absolutely can't stand his character. I'm not gonna lie, his character is funny, but I absolutely can't stand him. I don't know what Kelly ever saw in his character. His character is controlling, he seems like a narcissist, and he's cheap. I don't know what she sees in his character. I don't know how their marriage lasted so long. He's just annoying, man. He's just annoying. And then on top of that, his character is a whole cheater. No one ever talks about that in the show. There's literally one episode where Derwin is trying to get advice from him about him, because Derwin is also a cheater in the show, and it's the first time he ends up kissing one of the singers, Jusadora, and then he's coming to him for advice, and then Jason's oh, I know you're gonna come to me for advice and tell you, oh, go back to your girlfriend and da. But then he's no, I'm not gonna tell you that, and he's you already know what you want to do. And in the show, he literally admits to cheating on his wife that he's been with for 7 years. And then his character is yeah, I smashed so-and-so when Kelly and I were married and stuff like that. I hooked up with so-and-so. I got it out of my system. And then Darren's oh, I don't need to get it out of my system. And da-da-da-da-da-da. Next episode, Darren literally ends up cheating with Jusadora and all that. And I'm just I do not like Jason's character. He's one of the most annoying characters on the show. I absolutely can't stand his character. My God, I never met a character in my... That's not true. A lot of characters I can't stand, but Jason takes the cake for characters I hate. Then there's Kelly. I actually really like her character. She's actually super sweet, but honestly, she needs to grow a backbone. And I know she does grow a backbone in the later seasons of the show, but in the early season, she just needs to grow a backbone, because she was one of the most likable, lovable characters you could ever have, but she just needed to grow a backbone. Then there's Melanie. I actually like Melanie's character. She could be annoying at times, but I liked her for the most part. I actually really do like her character. She's super sweet, she's super kind. But I don't know why she stayed with Darren, because the whole time of their relationship, they were something else. All he did was cheat on her. for the whole show, all he did was just cheat on her, and I'm like, I don't understand her character. It's like I like her character so much when she's by herself, but when she's with Duran, they're just horrible together. Especially in the later seasons where they tried to make them friends just for them to like end up like clicking up again, and it just made no sense. At least to me, like I won't lie, they had great chemistry, but when they were together, all he did was cheat on her. And it was like when they had time apart, you could see that she worked on herself and that she was like more better and stuff like that. I'm sorry for dropping spoiler alerts, but it's just like what I personally think. But it was like when they were together, they were horrible because he would just constantly cheat on her and she would forgive him, and it was like he would cheat. They would take a break because she wanted to think about her or whatever. After the time they spent apart, she would take him back. He would cheat again. It was just an ongoing, repeating cycle. And it was just make my head hurt just to watch that. And then on top of that, how they made it seem like he was a victim the whole time. And how they would constantly victimize him even though he literally cheated on her. And then on top of that, he tried to cover it up and lie about it too. Like when he was confessing, he was like, "Oh, I only kissed her." And then they go into that whole confrontation scene with what do you call it? I forgot her name, but she's the designer. I absolutely love her character. And I absolutely love her friendship with Melanie. I feel like their friendship deserved more screen time because they were the epitome of best friends, and I love it. I just love their friendship so much. I absolutely adore her character. Could not stand her and hates it. I obviously hate his character. So annoying. And he just like is literally trying to hide it, cover it up, and all that stuff. And I feel like she probably would have just told her, and whatever. Yeah. So basically, they end up talking about it. They're arguing about it, and then she comes up behind her and hears about it and all that stuff. And then after that, the whole confrontation happens. But that's all the way in season 2. And he's, victim blaming her, saying, "You never spend time for me," and da-da-da, da-da-da. But it's like, you do know as a doctor, you're literally putting your girlfriend's life in other people's hands. It's literally life and death. Obviously, she's not going to have time to baby you and take care of you and be a quote-unquote good girlfriend. She's going to have to study, read the books, so she doesn't go to jail for killing somebody all because her boyfriend wanted to be babied. And it's just like, you can't do that. You can't just blame like, "Oh, you pushed me away, she cheated," and then he cheated. I made this because she actually did not cheat. She should have had all right to cheat, but she didn't. Anyway, so as I was anyways, he basically just kept on arguing with her and then kept on being disrespectful and was like, "Oh, then maybe you should become a doctor," and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, the whole time where you're dating, her dream was to become a doctor. You literally go and say that to be disrespectful to her. Then on top of that, you cheat on her. Then you victimize yourself, talking about, "Oh, you pushed me away," and da-da-da-da. But it's like, she didn't push you away. She was trying to make time for herself so she could be able to study, so she could become able to be a doctor and fulfilling her dreams. Not everything is about you. And then after that, so that he victimized himself, disrespected her, hurt her career, and then he lied to her. That man is a narcissist to me, and I just did not like his character. And he was just annoying. And he was just reminding me of those character of like those guys that pretend to be good, but really they're not good, and they're actually horrible fucking beings and horrible men. But that's just me. That's what I think his character was. Props to their actors because I cannot stand his character. It's like in the beginning, his character was like trying to pretend to be the good person that he was, and he was like an okay character, maybe even likable. But as the time went on, as the show went on, you just seen through his act, and you just seen through who his personality is and who he is as a person, as like a character. And he was just, to me, like I say, a horrible character and a horrible being. And he just gets progressively worse as a character, especially in the later seasons. I'm not going to say why, but he does get progressively worse as a character. I hate it, see him on TV. I hate it. And then on top of that, makes And then after that is Tasha Mack's character, and actually I do feel bad for her character, and I understand why she is the way she is, because she ends up being intimate with a guy. He ends up believing her. He uses that dumbass excuse, I was scared even though she was 15 and pregnant, and all that stuff. She has every right to be angry, every right to be. And for some reason, for the show, it's always like they have these male characters that are absolutely horrible, absolutely horrendous. And the person that should be mad, they're like, in the audience's way, they're like trying to like write that they have no reason to be mad, and trying to victimize the male characters who are terrible towards the female characters for some reason. Very disrespectful, borderline disrespectful. And this is like down the road anyway, because like basically what happens is that like Malik's like father comes back, he tries to like play the victim and all that stuff, then he ends up leaving and all that stuff, and then Tasha is looked at as the bad person, even though she raised him as best as her ability could be and all that stuff. And she did have trust issues, which for that to happen to someone so young and everything, it would have trust issues. And on top of that, she even explained in the episode that she was dirt poor, never around, never paid child support, all that stuff. So she does have a right to be angry, and she does have a right to have trust issues, because that's very hard to come back from. And then on top of that, the fact that people tried to victimize Malik's father made my head hurt. It's like, how can you victimize someone who abandons their responsibility as a father? I just don't understand that. But honestly, for her character, I honestly wish she would have just healed from that. And then on top of that, just move on. But I'm glad that she did heal from that, and she did move on from that. She still stayed the same character, but she did get better. Like, she still had her fiery side to her, but she did get, better. And, she only reacted when it was reasonable. And, she got better as a manager, and she and, what's her name? Kelly did, build their own enterprise and stuff like that. Another thing that they did talk about on the show was women and working, or women and staying home. And while watching it, it made me realize, as a woman, you can do what you want to do. If you want to work, work. If you want to stay home, stay home. If you want to be a housewife, be a housewife. Do what you want. It's all about choices and what you want to do, because some women, they want to stay home, they want to take care of the kids and all that. Some want to work. It's all about what you want to do. If you want to stay home, stay home. You want to work, work. Okay? If you want to be a housewife, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, if you want to work, work. All about what you want to do. And what makes you happy and what makes you fulfilled. Which, yeah. And then on top of that is the next character, is Malik's character. I honestly feel like Malik is a very complex character. And I feel like he has many layers to him, especially with the abandonment of his father. And I feel like they could have explored him, but I feel at the same time they did explore him, because there was one character that he fake married. I think that was I forgot her name, Givens. I actually did like them, as she saw him for who he was and not who he was trying to pretend in the media, and wasn't trying to he had this very hard image, but in reality he was just a scared little boy. And I really enjoy the fact that she said that, and she wasn't babying him, and she wasn't loving up on him, and she wasn't doing all that shit. And it was more of she was just this is who you are, face it. And that's one thing I did absolutely love. I absolutely loved her character, and I wish that she was on the show more, but she was just there for an episode and she was gone. And I'm actually happy that they exposed that marriage, because she deserved better, and he needs to be by himself and work through his issues. I don't know why I said that I actually liked their marriage. What I meant to say was that I actually liked her character, because she said what needed to be said, and said the things that he did not want to hear, because he wasn't ready to face them. And honestly, I feel like she deserved better, and she deserved a recurring role on the show. And he need to, in my eyes, well, not my eyes, but I just felt like his character needs to go through therapy. And get over the trauma and all that stuff that they went through and just heal, because she deserves so much better. And I'm just happy the marriage was a sham, they got divorced, all that stuff, because she deserves so much better and he needs to go to therapy and heal. um and then after that, what else could you talk about on the show? Another thing you could talk about the show is the cheating on the show. It would be like the women will cheat, that would make it such a big deal, but the men will cheat and they'd be like, oh, that's just men being men. And it's like, if I'm being loyal to you, you be loyal to me. That's just how it works. You're not gonna step one foot out and cheat. It's just disrespectful and wrong. And like I said, in the show, cheating was just like such a thing, and where like the men would do it, no big deal. The women would do it, it's like, oh, it's the end of the world. And it's like, why are you mad that she did the same thing to you? Just done better. And just done because you deserve it. And because it's karma. And it just was what had happened in the show. And it's like, how do I say it? It just like never made sense to me on the show of how like the women cheating versus the men cheating. It was like the men cheating, it was just like, oh, it's normal. The women cheating is unnormal. It's like, you did the same thing that she did. You're just mad because she did it better, and because you're getting your feelings, or because you're getting your karma because you decided to step out on your relationship. And on top of that, just staying faithful is the bare minimum. I don't know why they just couldn't do that in the show. Even to the point, like, there was sometimes make jokes about it, and it was like, for what? Really? And then there was TT's character. He was actually one of the characters that were actually enjoyable and the characters that I wanted to see on screen. And every time I was like, oh, it's TT, he's cool, he's fine. He was actually one of the characters that I actually enjoyed seeing on the screen. And he was actually pretty funny. And then there was Irv. I didn't really care for his character. I just felt like he was just annoying and he was just a shark. And then there was and then after that was Tasha's like boyfriend or whatever from it was like Malik's coach. I forgot his name, but I actually did not care for his character. I thought he was just annoying. I don't know why, I just found his character to be annoying. And I did not like them either, honestly. I did not like their trope. I just did not like them because I felt like they were never gonna work out because they can never go on the same page. And on top of that, she was just like embarrassed to be around him. And they were just never gonna work out. I don't know what the point of them was. They just made no sense to me. And then on top of that, one thing the show never ever talks about is like how media representation can like blow things out of proportion. Like for example, watching the show, Melanie is just out eating dinner with her friend Trey that is opposite gender from her and everything, and then the media like made it out bigger than it was, even though it was literally her, the mother of Trey, and Trey, who literally were like having, there was three of them together just having literal like lunch together, and the media made it like a bigger deal. And on top of that, Durin, instead of just talking to her about it, he literally went silent treatment on her, and he just stopped talking to her, and it was just annoying. Another thing was that their relationship literally lacked communication. It was like the episode where he proposed, and it was like, I felt like before he proposed, he literally should have talked to her before about it. Like prior, should have like pulled her aside or texted her when they got home, talked about like what they wanted from the relationship. Just communicate, so instead of them having to like he proposes and everything, and she says yes because she doesn't want to embarrass her boyfriend, which is like understandable. If my boyfriend says yes, proposes to me, obviously I'm gonna say yes and all that stuff. But before that, me and him would obviously communicate beforehand. And by beforehand, I don't mean, oh, before he proposes. I mean, like, literally, we would talk about it while we were, like, dating and everything. And then after that, the time that we decide is right, he would, like, pop the question and everything. So that's what I was trying to say with Melanie and Doran. I felt like they should literally have, like, talked about it during the time they were dating, and then after that, when they both felt the time was right, he should have popped a question, and then she could have properly said yes to the proposal, because it would have made more sense with the increase of increase of communication they had, and it would have led to a proper proposal, but it led to a hot mess of that relationship. And then on top of the fact that he wouldn't even talk to her about Trey and everything, at least hear her side of the story out. Because at the end of the day, how they met was that she was literally tutoring him because he was failing classes. It wasn't she was an ex-boyfriend or anything like that. It was she was literally tutoring because he was failing his classes, and he knew his mother, and she knew Trey's mother, and they were just having brunch, and she knew his mother because of that and all that stuff. And instead of just coming to her and talking to her about it, he didn't trust her. He followed her around. It led to arguments. The media got wind of it, made it into a bigger argument and all that stuff. And in his eyes, he was like treated with a joke, and he was treated as a joke and all that. But if you just had talked to her those times and everything, the relationship, at least to me, would have gotten better. Like I said, if you had talked to her before you proposed and everything, and in their time of like dating and everything, they had talked about like what they wanted for their future and the communication and everything, then he could have, did what he needed to do to propose, plan out the proposal and wear the ring and all that stuff, the Toyota car he was gonna get her, and then did his proposal, bada bada bang, get on his knee and all that stuff. The relationship would have went smoother. And on top of that, the whole Trey Wig situation, if you had talked to her about it and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, like I mentioned how they met and all that stuff, and the brunch and stuff like that, if you had talked to her about that, it would have gotten smoother. But you didn't. Instead, his character just wanted to act like a big baby, as if he did not want to storm around and go around and just act like an idiot. It's like, just communicate and your problems would have been solved and it would have been easier. But to me, what killed their relationship was during cheating, the lack of communication, and them fighting. And it just, ugh.